In today's review, we're checking out the Lenovo Idea Tab, what you can call a more accessible version of the Lenovo Idea Tab Pro, but an upgrade over the popular Tab M11. The Idea Tab starts off at £240 with the Tab Pen included, and in this review we'll check out what the display is like, how the quad speakers sound, how it handles gaming and productivity, and a lot more. So let's see tech for what it is and jump into the review. We'll first check out what we get in the box itself, and first thing is the Idea Tab sitting on top. Slide it out of this paper sleeve and we'll put that to the side for now. We get the usual paperwork in the form of the Tab Pen Quick Start Guide, the Idea Tab Quick Start Guide, and a safety and warranty booklet. We get an SD card tray ejecting pin, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and we get the Tab Pen, which you can call your budget kind of stylus, but we'll be checking that out in a lot more detail later on in the review. And the Idea Tab itself, once again, here in the UK there's no charging adapter, though this does vary by region. So if you do get one in the box, let me know in the comments. So we'll start off with the design and build, and up front we have an 11-inch LCD display with uniform bezels all around. Up top we have the volume buttons, a microphone, and an SD card slot which can accommodate an SD card up to 2 TB. To the right we have a headphone jack, 2 speaker grills, and a 2.0 USB-C port, so that's up to 480 megabits per second speeds. No wired display output supported here, unfortunately. Around the bottom are the pogo pin connectors for the Folio keyboard, which wasn't available when I got this tablet. To the left we have the power/lock button, 2 more speaker grills, and the Dolby Atmos branding in the middle. We have the 5 megapixel front facing camera built into the bezel, and then turning to the back, familiar Lenovo design with the kind of two-tone finish and Lenovo branding in the middle. This is an unibody metal build, so feels nice and premium in the hand. And we have the 8 megapixel rear camera in a rectangle shaped module. It weighs 480 grams, so about the same as most tablets this size, not too heavy, and the build seems to be solid. No noises or creaking when applying pressure. Thickness is 6.9 millimeters, so fairly thin. And other specs here would be IP52 rating, Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.2. It has an accelerometer, Hall sensor, and also comes in a polar blue color. And when you're laying it flat to use it, there is a little bit of rocking because of the camera module that protrudes, but I've seen a lot worse than this. When it comes to the display, the Idea Tab has an 11-inch 2.5K IPS LCD panel. Refresh rate is at 90Hz and it has a 72% NTSC rating. In display settings, we have our usual light and dark mode with schedule options. Peak brightness here is at 500 nits, so decent for indoor viewing, but expected for a budget tablet. For color mode, we have standard or vibrant, though I feel like the only thing that changes is the temperature. But for color temperature, you can pick from standard, warm, or cool, or adjust from the coloring. We have eye protection mode, which will give the screen a warm temperature, and you can adjust the intensity of this. Reading mode alters the temperature again from color effect, black and white, and also custom effects for each app. You have various options for lock screen, like adding text, choosing shortcuts, device controls. Display text size lets you adjust the font size and the display size as you please, along with bold text. And then in quick gestures, we have all your different gestures, of course, along with toggles for lift to check tablet, double tap to power on screen, and lock. And there was no refresh rate option, so I'm assuming this is kind of a dynamic setup where it would adjust from 60 to 90 Hz, I'd assume. When it comes to streaming, YouTube maxes out at 1440p, aka 2K, 60 FPS. No HDR or Dolby Vision supported on here. Content plays fine. No issues, and we get what we can expect from a display at this price range. Colors look okay, and color accuracy is quite good too, and so is sharpness. Netflix supports wideband level 1 with full HD playback, so you'll be able to enjoy full HD 1080p content on here. And visuals are nice and sharp, as I said, again with good color reproduction and accuracy. So as a media consumption device, it suffices and will be an enjoyable experience. But you have to temper expectations when it comes to displays like this, and keep in mind that these are budget panels. Regarding viewing angles, presents a familiar characteristic often seen with LCD panels. There is a noticeable dip in brightness, especially in red lit environments, the main culprit being glare and reflection, and there's also a slight shift in the color temperature. Outdoors, in strong lighting, with the display becoming quite hard to see. I mean, it's still legible, but you will struggle a little. We'll check out the Tab Pen that comes bundled with the tablet, and for specs, the pen supports 4096 level pressure sensitivity and has tilt support. It runs on a quadruple A battery. It's 4 A's battery basically. First we need to remove the separator to power the pen on, and once that's done, it connects to the tablet automatically and is ready to use, and the battery on here can last up to 180 hours of continuous use. In the settings, you can find more information on the battery that is compatible with the pen. You can toggle Stylus toolbox that has quick access to things like easy jot, circle to search, screenshot and a new note. You can toggle handwrite to write in any text area and convert it into text, and shortcuts with the bottom left swipe for easy jot and the bottom right swipe opens quick notes. And you have various accidental touch protection options. You can toggle a pointer and also handwriting sounds. To test the pen, I'll fill out this Stylus test template of mine, and for writing it does a good job. It's not the most accurate but suffices to get down some basic writing. Highlighting was a bit of a hit and miss, but I managed to do it, and underlining and circling small text was fine. And as I traced these objects, I'd say it's okay. Again, not the most accurate pen, but then it depends on how steady your hand is as well, I guess. In this app, pressure sensitivity isn't supported, but we'll have a look at that in another app. And for those interested in drawing, as I cannot draw to save my life, I'll trace this stencil app. It's okay, I would say. Again, not the most accurate, but for more simple things, it does a fairly good job, I would say. Palm rejection works fine as I rest my hand on the screen and write. Latency isn't too bad. Slow down, you can see it trailing behind a little, but in real world use, it's barely noticeable unless you're like moving the pen around really fast. And then using the Easy Dot app, there is some tilt recognition to a certain degree. I guess more skilled people would be able to make better use of this. And pressure sensitivity works fine as I press harder and the line is drawn thicker. Overall, it's an okay basic stylus. The Tab Pen Plus does step things up a bit and is overall a better stylus than this one, which is also compatible with this tablet. Next, we'll check out the quad speakers on the Idea Tab, and they support Dolby Atmos. In the settings, you can toggle Dolby Atmos, and then you have your different Dolby modes with dynamic, movie, which also has a dialogue enhancer, and music with different EQ presets. But I'll switch it to dynamic to start with. Please be aware that the upcoming volume will be quite loud.
Thank you. Are you really friends with Peter Parker?
Oh,
Me? You see that? Get down! He's a psycho! He's lost it!
And for the most part, it was absolutely fine. It's not the most precise pen out there, but for general note taking and not. So overall, the speakers on the Idea Tab are okay. They do get fairly loud, though I have heard louder, and I did notice some distortion at max volume. Bass response is minimal, and there isn't much of a soundstage from what I could hear. Overall, they will suffice for media consumption, but they ain't blowing anything out of the water. Listening to audio is subjective, so you might perceive it differently, but that's just my opinion from what I heard. Powering the Idea Tab is the MediaTek Dimensity 6300, which is a lower end mid-range / entry-level chipset. We get 8GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 256GB UFS 2.2 storage. It's running on Android 15 with Lenovo ZUI 17 on top, and Lenovo are promising 2 OS upgrades until Android 17 and 4 years of security patches until 2029. We also get up to 4GB RAM expansion, though when I tried to enable it, it didn't have enough storage space to actually activate it. In the settings, for more connections, we have Cast, and you can connect to devices over Wi-Fi as my television pops up here. You also have Smart Connect to control all devices from a single dashboard. Personal customization with themes, wallpapers and charge animation options. You have various notification and control center options, and you can pick from the classic or new one. I'll switch it to the new one, which I prefer. For biometrics, we only have password and facial recognition, no fingerprint reader here. And then your digital well-being and parental controls with focus, screen time reminders and others. In advanced features, we have PC mode and key mapping, so I'll connect my Bluetooth mouse and jump into PC mode. Here we have a more PC friendly type of layout, so perfect for those who prefer that kind of style. You can open windows and adjust the size as you please, and you can do that with multiple windows. You also have all your control panel functions accessible at the bottom right. And then jumping back into regular tablet mode, opening apps, you'll find it takes a second or two, and you may occasionally experience some lag or stutter, but this is expected at a tablet at this price point. For your everyday tasks, the tablet will handle those fine and can handle split screen along with multiple floating windows open with not much problem, but you have to keep things quite basic and simple here. Pushing it too far will obviously cause some choke ups. Quick RAM management check, and I'll open a heavy app like COD Mobile, and when going back to the previous app, looks like they're still running in the background, so RAM management seems to be okay. We also have Lenovo AI built into the tablet, and to access these features you need to log into your Lenovo account. And you have AI continue writing, rewrite and summary. I'll select summary and it takes a few seconds and will present you with basically a summary of the highlighted text. Continue writing will expand the current text you have selected, and you can choose from various tones and also switch up the style. We also have Google Gemini built in and works as intended with, for example, utility tasks, along with any other use case you would have with Gemini, like generating text and such, where you can always jump into the Gemini app too. So productivity in here for students and kids will be no problem with the floating windows, PC mode and your kind of normal daily task handled quite well. We'll check out external storage, and I've connected my USB 3.0 hard drive to the tablet. I'll start off by playing some of my 4K exports, and scrubbing through we have a second or two delay. Same thing with this 4K drone footage with a second or two delay when scrubbing. But 1080p footage is handled better with instant scrubbing. And then I'll copy this 1.74GB file over to the tablet, and that transfer took around 50 seconds to complete, so not blazing fast, but reasonable time I'd say. And then for video export, I have that same file that I transferred to the tablet loaded in CapCut here, which is a 4K file just under 5 minutes long, and this is the same for the other tablets I test as well. Scrubbing through, there is some lag a little bit, but it's not the most snappiest. I guess it would still be workable. And exporting that at 4K 30 FPS with recommended bitrate took 7 minutes and 16 seconds, so that is quite a long time. For reference, the iPad A16 that I reviewed exported the exact same video and the settings in 1 minute and 39 seconds. So for these kind of tasks you will have to be quite patient with load and export times. Let's check out some gaming on the Idea tab, and I will turn the volume up to around 40%. Brightness is set to the highest, and we're starting off with battery on 97%, and temperature of the device is at 33 degrees. And jumping into COD Mobile, the highest for graphic quality is medium and frame rate is high. I'll also turn on anti-aliasing, and then some of these options are grayed out, but I've turned on most of the stuff. And starting off with those settings, we're hitting 60 FPS with some fluctuations down to 56 or so. So not bad. COD Mobile is a very well optimized game across most platforms. Though medium graphic quality isn't the best, it still looks quite decent. 12 minutes in and still holding okay with the FPS hitting 60. We'll jump out of this game and into a battle royale to see how things are there. And here with the same graphic settings, looks like the FPS caps out at 40. Still running nice and smooth, but obviously not as smooth as the 60 FPS or multiplayer, but still reasonable. So after 20 minutes of COD Mobile, the device temperature is reading 39 degrees, so warmed up quite a bit, and the battery is now down to 88%. Next we'll jump into a Roblox game, and with the default graphic settings, the FPS is jumping around all over the shop. I'm going to crank the graphic quality up to max and see how it handles that. And with max graphics, it's managing around 15 to 16 FPS, so not good at all. The game is running quite choppy and laggy, so not ideal at those settings. Let's turn those down to the lower end, and now it's running quite a bit better than before, managing to hit 30 FPS at least, though it's still fluctuating. The gameplay is a lot better and it's running smoother than before. Half an hour in now, and we'll check out Wuthering Waves. Again, I'll start off with turning all the graphic settings to the highest and frame rate target to 60 FPS. The game does look good visually, though I've seen it look better, but still good enough, and the frame rate is hovering around the high 20s, low 30s, so not going to reach 60 FPS here at all, but still smooth enough for most people. I'll switch to the ultra performance preset, which dials everything down to low and then target 60 FPS here. From what I can see, that didn't make much of a difference to the FPS, maybe a little bit. It does occasionally hit the high 30s, but still lingering in the 20s for the most part. So after 45 minutes of gaming, the temperature is now at 40.3 degrees, so running quite warm, and the battery has dropped down to 78%. Next, we'll check out a classic GTA San Andreas, and I'll turn up the resolution to the highest and turn on everything else as well. Though the game visually looks really good, it is not playable with an FPS ranging from 12 to 15. It's very laggy and choppy, moving in like slow motion, so that's a no-go here. I'll bring the resolution down, and doing that makes the gameplay a little bit better, now achieving 20-ish FPS, but still not ideal as it's still quite laggy. And then I'll bring the resolution down more, and I'll turn off the other settings, and with that it does run a bit smoother, but visually just looks awful now. It's blurry, pixelated, so not the best experience here, and it looks like GTA is probably not the most optimized game for these kind of chipsets or these kind of devices. Fallout 84 gives us balanced as the highest graphic quality, and I'll switch the frame rate to high, and right off the bat we're capping out at 40 FPS, and the game is running nice and smooth. Visual quality looks really good, Again, not the absolute best, but still decent. And then after an hour of back-to-back gaming, we finish off with the Idea Tab temperature at 40 degrees, so warmed up quite a bit, and you can feel that around the back of the tablet. Battery finishes off at 72%, so a total loss of 25% battery life. With an entry-level chipset, you're not going to get the best gaming experience, and if you do crank visual quality up to the highest you can do, you will get that choppy and laggy gameplay. So this tablet is best suited for light and maybe medium gaming. When it comes to the battery, the Lenovo Idea Tab is packing a 7040 mAh battery and supports 20-watt charging. On my testing, 0 to 100% took around 2 hours to charge, and you can also use reverse charging to power other devices. And in comparison, Redmi Pad 2, which I reviewed recently, which is roughly the same price bracket, comes with a 9000 mAh battery. In the settings, we have battery saver with various options such as turning off after reaching 90% battery level, or a toggle to enable automatically at a predefined percentage. Charging optimizations include charging protection that keeps the power at 40 to 60%, prolong the battery life. You have battery maintenance mode, max charge limit which sets to 80%, and then battery health stats. And over discharge protection toggle that will switch off the device if it has low battery and hasn't been used for a long time. And then your usual battery usage chart since the last full charge, but in my case it wasn't showing screen time for some reason, says 0 minutes, so I'll take that as a bug. And then you have your battery usage by apps or system filter. In my streaming test, with the screen brightness set to around 80% and volume at around 30%, and streaming continuously on YouTube, Netflix and others, the tablet managed a total of 7 hours and 45 minutes, so that was quite disappointing. And the Redmi Pad 2 managed 12 hours, but that packs a 9000 mAh battery, as I said. So for general light use, you'll get a day out of this maybe, but anything more than that, and you'll definitely have to top up at some point throughout the day. Optics wise, the Idea Tab has a 5 megapixel front facing camera and 8 megapixel rear facing camera, so very basic here. In the camera app, we have documents, photo and video. In the settings, things are quite simple here too, with generic options like reference lines, QR recognition, front camera mirror. For video quality, both front and rear camera can record at max of 1080p 30 fps. In video mode, we can pick from different filters, adjust the beauty mode, and you have 1x and 2x digital zoom, and the same settings apply for the front facing camera. For photo, you can adjust aspect ratio, adjust the bokeh effect, which does nothing really. You have the beauty slider again and a bunch of filters, and then an AI scene detection toggle, and a 1x, 2x or up to 8x very blurry and grainy digital zoom. But we'll have a quick look at some captures. Keep in mind these cameras are very basic. They need a lot of light for half decent captures, and low light you might as well not even bother at all. Checking out the rear camera quality. Recording at 1080p 30 fps, which is the highest setting. And that's 2x and 1x. Front facing camera, again 1080p 30 fps. Alright, let's wrap up our look at the Lenovo Idea Tab. Firstly, the display is just okay. It's functional for everyday viewing, but don't expect stunning visual. It lacks features like HDR and Dolby Vision, but again, that kind of stuff is expected at this price point. The speakers are also pretty average. They're fine for casual listening, but they can distort at higher volumes, and there's like minimal bass response. When it comes to performance, it's adequate, I would say. This tablet handles daily tasks, light productivity, and even some light gaming without much fuss. Just know its limits. Don't expect it to be some kind of gaming powerhouse. The battery life, frankly, was a bit disappointing. In my streaming test, like I said, we only got about 7 hours and 45 minutes, which isn't ideal for a media tablet on the go, to be honest. And you likely need to charge it more often than you'd like. As for the cameras, very basic. Quick video calls or document scans would be okay, but you don't expect high quality photos or videos from here. So who is this tablet for? I guess it's a budget friendly option that gets the job done if your needs are basic. If you're looking for an affordable tablet for casual web browsing, simple media consumption and light work, and you're okay with these compromises on the sound and the battery, then it might be a fit. However, if you're after a more premium, immersive or powerful experience, you'll definitely need to check out another tablet like the Idea Tab Pro, which I've reviewed, and you can check that out on the top right of the screen. So the Idea Tab is a decent entry-level device, but it certainly isn't a showstopper. So that's my review. Thanks for watching, and if you did find this review helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. Love to hear your thoughts on the Idea Tab in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.